I'm losing it. I'm losing my mind. Can't deal with this anymore. Why won't the voices stop? Hey guys. How are you? Nice to see you. I didn't expect to see you there. Okay, I'll tell you. You've already seen me at my worst, so I might as well just get it off of my chest. I'm hearing voices. They're everywhere. They tell me bad things. I do sometimes hear voices, like audible, actual voices, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I wanted to see if you guys could relate, mainly because this literally happened to me last night, or like early hours this morning. I talked about this to my grandparents, and my grandmother couldn't relate, but my grandfather could. He said it happens to him, so I wanted to see if anybody else could relate, because it is kind of a weird phenomenon that happens to me every now and then, and I've never really talked about it much. I think I made a video like 7 years ago or something crazy like that, but I haven't really like made a video on it recently, and it still happens from time to time. Like I would say I don't even know. It's not like it doesn't have a very specific time between each time it happens, but it is something that is kind of odd because it's like an actual like audible voice. Like you would swear that you just heard it, and it usually happens to me when I'm asleep at night. So basically what happens is I'll tell you guys what happened last night, and then I'll tell you like how it goes usually. It's usually just saying my name. It doesn't really say anything much, but it just says my name, and it's in a voice that I usually recognize. Usually, the most common one is my grandmother or my mom, and I usually hear their voices while I'm asleep, and it usually happens just a couple hours after I've gone to sleep. I don't know whether it's like I'm just entering the REM stage of my sleep or what, but like it seems to happen then, a couple hours later. And it happens when, so what happens is like I could go to sleep and then I will audibly hear, like it's not even like I'm dreaming. This is totally different than a dream, because usually I'm not dreaming anything, or like I can be dreaming something and then this voice wakes me up. And it's usually just like my grandmother, and I can hear, Mike, and then I'm like, yeah? And then I jump up and I'm like, wait, where am I? What is going on? It's like the middle of the night. And it's just kind of crazy. I'm like looking around and stuff and just like, what the heck? Like I'm alone. I could have sworn I just heard like somebody's voice. And it does it the same with my mom too. Like sometimes I hear my mom's voice and I always jump up and I always respond. It's kind of a weird feeling because you wake up and you are so sure, but it's also kind of scary because you feel like something's wrong. Like you're like, what just happened? Why am I asleep? Did I fall asleep in somebody's like house? Because I usually hear my mom, and so I'll hear like, Mike, like that, as if she's like calling to see if I'm there. So, or like it's kind of in a way like as if to say like, Mike, are you here? That kind of way of saying, but it's just always just Mike. And every time I jump up and I'm like, what? Hello? Yeah? What? And then I'm like, what is going on? It's like reality hits me. Then I'm just sitting there in the dark alone, and it's kind of crazy. But last night it happened again. And this one was exceptionally crazy because it was my little sister. I was literally falling asleep. I had a hard time falling asleep last night, and it got to like almost 6 a.m. And I still remember trying to fall asleep, and I had like the covers off of me. I didn't have a shirt on or anything. I was like getting really hot. So I was laying there on my back, just trying to cool down. And I remember that was almost like 5 a.m. And the next thing I know, I must have dozed off and went into a sleep, because it was like, I think just a couple minutes after 6, and it was still kind of dark, and I heard, Mike, like twice, coming from this side of me. So like my door is over that side, and the voice came from like right here, and I could have sworn that it was my little sister's voice. Like I know it so much so that I actually jumped up and I went, Leah? And I looked around and she was just not there. And it was just crazy. Like it's just really weird. But it freaked me out this much because when it does happen, sometimes it sounds like someone's calling me from a distance, but this time it sounded like it was coming from right fucking like next to my ear. So it kind of made me jump, and I was like looking around. It was just dark, and yeah, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. And my sister is on vacation at the moment, so I texted her this morning and I was like, you woke me up at 6 a.m. And she's like, wait, what? How? And I was like, because you were yelling my name. And I just explained to her, like, what happened. But then because we were talking about it, kind of got me thinking about the topic of, like, hearing people's voices that I know, and they're calling my name. And it wakes me up in the middle of the night. It's kind of crazy, and it made me want to talk to you guys about it. There's only ever been another time this happened that was, like, exceptionally different, I mean. And it was when I made a video about this a long time ago. I don't even remember what the video was called, but I do remember doing it. And I dreamt that I was awoken to the sound, and I think I was very sick at the time. I was awoken to the sound of a woman's voice politely saying, "Sir? Hey, sir." And it sounded as if it were right here. And I remember that scared the crap out of me because I didn't know where I was. Like, I thought it was like, am I in hospital? Like, what is happening? Why am I being called sir for start? And like, why are they trying to wake me up? Like, why am I asleep? And it's just a really crazy feeling. It doesn't sound that scary, but it's scary when it happens because you are so sure, and you know you're 100% alone, but you are so sure that, like, you just heard. Like, even when you become, like, fully awake and you realize nobody's actually calling you, then it starts to feel like that wasn't just in my head. That was an actual, like, I fucking felt the breath on my neck because that voice was so close to me. It's so clear and so audible that you're so sure that even if it wasn't my sister, it was something else, and it was definitely mocking her, or like mimicking her, I mean, which got me thinking, because my little sister did say, she says, probably the demon. I don't know if that my sister knows that, like there's a demon in my house, but yeah, she was like, it's probably the demon. I was like, you're probably right. Little sister. Never fully understood what that is. Not demons, but like the voice thing. But I did see a TikTok a long time ago, and this kind of freaked me out a little bit. And it was like a guy was in his own house, and he was all alone, but he heard the voice coming from like the other end of the hallway, and it was like his voice. He was hearing his own voice calling his name, and it was like I read the comments, I think, and I don't know. I think I did some research on it, and like people were saying, if you ever hear like something calling your voice in what sounds like your name, don't approach it, because it's not. It's something evil, and it's using your voice to gain your trust so that you let your guards down, you go over and see what it is. So it kind of freaked me out a little bit because I thought of that, and that was his own voice, but it was still calling his name. So maybe like the demon in my house is using my sister's voice, or maybe it's like for a long time it's been using my grandma's voice and my mom's voice. Maybe it knows that I'm not going to fall for it by doing that. So it's like, okay, I need to do something else. Let me try his sister. But I feel like, I don't know, it's really weird. Maybe it is just my brain. I don't know. But like at the time, you would swear that it was like, it really happened. Like I'm telling you, like if I had a voice recorder set right next to me while I was sleeping, the voice recorder would have picked it up too. Like it wasn't in my head. Like I actually heard an audible voice being spoken in my room. And it's always somebody that I know, but they're never there. And it's really freaky. So basically what I want to do is ask you guys, can anybody relate to this? Not necessarily exactly the same, but do you ever wake up just feeling like, or just like hearing somebody calling you, or like somebody talking in general, and then you jump up because you're so sure you just heard someone, and there's never anybody there. Sometimes you even like wake up yelling, like, yeah, what do you want? And then you're like, there's nobody. It's really freaky. I'm finally glad to have made a video about this because it's been going on for years. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and chase your dreams. And if you ever hear a voice calling your name, don't open your eyes.